over 1,800 new COVID-19 cases reported following spike among factory workers. Government to work on micro-franchise development. Thanks for choosing News at 10 with me, Renee Fong. The Ministry of Health reported 1,884 new COVID-19 cases, the highest number of daily new infections since the outbreak began in February. Health Director General Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah said the figure was largely contributed by the Teratai cluster, which involves workers from Top Gloves factories in Klang. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said Selangor made up a majority of the new cases with 1,203 infections, followed by Sabah 289 cases.
Pelaporan kes positif COVID-19 yang tertinggi di Lembah Kelang berpunca daripada pertambahan kes bagi kluster-kluster terutamanya kluster berkaitan tempat kerja iaitu kluster teratai dengan pertambahan sebanyak 1,067 kes iaitu bersamaan dengan 76.2%.
The new figures put the cumulative infections in the country at 56,659 with 13,842 active cases. Currently, there are 115 patients being treated in ICU and 48 required breathing support. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham said there were 833 new recoveries reported as of noon today, bringing the total recoveries rate to 42,480 or 75% from total cases. The Health DG also reported 2 new deaths related to COVID-19, which bring the total fatalities to 337. Tan Sri Dr. Nur Hisham also reported that the number of active clusters now stands at 168 after 4 new clusters were discovered and 3 declared inactive today. Following the spike of COVID-19 cases in Teratai cluster, which involves factory workers in Selangor, the government has decided to close 28 Top Glove factories in stages to enable its staff to undergo COVID-19 screening and quarantine. Senior Minister for Security, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, informed that this measure is taken after a significant increase of COVID-19 cases among the staff of the factories.
Sehingga 23 November, KKM telah melaksanakan 5,794 saringan dan sebanyak 1,889 kes positif COVID-19 telah direkodkan. Jadi, atas nasihat dan penilaian risiko KKM, sidang khas hari ini bersetuju supaya 28 kilang Top Glove di kawasan tersebut di Kelang tu, di kalau tak silap saya di Kapar 28 kilang di situ, dia banyak kilang kecil-kecil dan sebagainya. 28 kilang Top Glove ditutup secara berperingkat.
Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri also explained that the closure will be moderated and overseen by the Selangor State Security Working Committee in conjunction with the management of the factory company. In other development, restaurants and eateries are now allowed to be opened until midnight. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the National Security Council MKN agreed to the new operational hours in today's meeting after looking into complaints by the public online and from restaurateurs associations. Elaborating on the matter, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the new stipulated operating hours, which comes into effect tomorrow, will also apply to convenience stores, sundry goods stores and petrol stations as well.
Terutamanya bagi masyarakat orang Islam ni, jadi mereka keluar biasanya selepas Isyak. Jadi pukul 9 baru mereka berada di restoran. Pukul 10 restoran dah ditutup. Jadi kesan kepada peniaga dan sebagainya memang tinggi, besar.
Previously, the government outlined that restaurant, food stalls, food trucks, roadside stalls and convenience stores are only allowed to operate from 6 a.m. to 10 p.m. following the implementation of CMCO in most states in the country. The number of residents affected by floods in Malacca have decreased to 389 from 502 recorded this afternoon after the floods began to recede at around 4 p.m. earlier. All 389 individuals were placed in 5 temporary relief centres, PPS. In Jasin, only 3 PPS remain operating, which are PPS Sekolah Kebangsaan Tehel, PPS SJKC Shuyen and PPS Sekolah Kebangsaan Parit Gantung. PPS Sekolah Menengah Kebangsaan Bukit Katil was closed as of 2:30 p.m. today. Meanwhile, in Alo Gajah, only 1 PPS in Sekolah Kebangsaan Durian Tunggal remains in operation, in which 26 individuals from 7 families were placed. In Melaka Tengah, all affected residents were placed in PPS Sekolah Kebangsaan Ayer Molek, which saw a decrease to 114 people from the 118 reported at noon. Over in Perak, the number of affected residents have increased from 239 individuals from 86 families to 269 individuals from 92 families placed into 4 PPS as of 4:30 p.m. earlier this afternoon. According to a statement by the State Disaster Management Committee Secretariat, 197 residents from 73 families were given shelter in 2 PPS in Bagan Serai. The PPS involved are located at Sekolah Kebangsaan Cangkat Lobak and Sekolah Kebangsaan Parit Haji Aman. Furthermore, 42 individuals from 13 families are situated in PPS Sekolah Rendah Agama Rakyat Ngah Ibrahim Matang, Taiping. Meanwhile, in Johor, all PPS have been fully closed, with the last PPS in Sekolah Kebangsaan Batu 10 in Skudai, Johor Bahru ceased its operations at about 4:30 p.m. this afternoon. According to the State Disaster Management Committee Secretariat, the PPS were closed following improved weather conditions and no more heavy rains and high tide in affected areas. The government is constantly monitoring the flood situation in affected states and will take necessary actions in assisting those in need. 2 Myanmar nationals were charged in the Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court for alleged sexual assault on a disabled person in Hulu, Terengganu. The proceeding was, however, adjourned due to the suspect's inability to understand charges read to them in Bahasa Malaysia. Kuala Terengganu Sessions Court Judge Noria Osman set 3rd December for case remention and the suspects were ordered to get a translator. The victim, who is mute and deaf, was allegedly raped on 11th November by the 2 suspects at a construction kongsi in Hulu, Terengganu. On the same day, police detained Akramullah Jamal Hussein, 23, and Shunamia Abdul Salam, 36, after they received a report from the victim's family. The prosecution team was led by Raya Zulfazlah Mahmud, while both suspects were not represented. Investigation was carried out under Section 376 of the Penal Code, which carries imprisonment for a term which may extend to 20 years and shall also be liable to whipping. Police are searching for a 38-year-old man named Mohammad Raif Lee, also known as Frankie or Alan. According to Johor Police Chief Dato' Ayub Khan Maidin Piche, he is the leader of the Alan Gang, which is responsible for supplying automated teller machine ATM cards to online fraud syndicates and non-existent loan and investments around Johor Bahru. In an operation conducted on 18 November, 10 members of the group acting as an ATM card collectors with a commission of RM400 per card were arrested.
Ini tuan-tuan yang pertama kali ditangkap. Untuk kes yang komersial inilah kali pertama kita dapat kesan sindiket yang membekalkan kad ATM untuk sindiket-sindiket makau scam, pinjaman yang tak wujud dan sebagainya.
The syndicate is believed to have been active since February and is responsible for causing losses totaling over 3.7 million ringgit. The suspects, all local citizens aged between 19 and 41 years old, were also found to be positive for drugs. The case is investigated under Section 420 of the Penal Code. The government is in talks with several financial institutions to reach a consensus on the implementation of the micro-franchise development and affordable franchise programs. Domestic Trade and Consumer Affairs Minister Datuk Sri Alexander Nantalinggi said discussions over several franchise companies' involvement in developing the initiative were also ongoing.
Dalam belanjawan 2021 yang telah dibentangkan, telah diperuntukkan 5 juta ringgit bagi pengembangan franchise mikro dan franchise mampu milik. Dan pembangunan franchise mikro ini dan franchise mampu milik adalah bagi golongan B40 dan M40. Jadi selaras dengan konsep franchise untuk semua, kita melihat pembangunan franchise perlu dilihat secara komprehensif dan bermanfaat kepada golongan B40 dan M40 ini.
Datuk Sri Nanta further noted that his ministry would announce about the initiative once its implementation guidelines are finalised. In Budget 2021, the government has allocated 25 million ringgit for the micro-franchise development and affordable franchise programs, as well as the Buy Made in Malaysia program. Meanwhile, the minister said currently there were line franchise companies from Sarawak that have 98 outlets nationwide, with 83 of them operating in Sarawak. Raw palm oil price is showing a positive and upward trend as price per tonne increased from 2,021 ringgit in May to 3,000 ringgit in November. The trend is expected to continue based on positive market perception, the increase in export and a stable global politic and economy landscape.
Peningkatan harga MSM ini telah menyebabkan harga buah tanam segar sawit di pintu kilang turut meningkat kepada RM760 setan pada 19 November 2020 berbanding RM408 setan pada 12 Mei 2020. Ini menunjukkan bahawa usaha-usaha yang dilakukan oleh kerajaan telah berjaya meningkatkan harga minyak sawit.
Speaking in Dewan Rakyat today, Datuk Sri Dr. Wijek Singh added that government had established a cooperative to enable private farmers make more deals with manufacturers. This step was taken to ensure private farmers get a much higher price and increase their livelihood. As of October, 65 sustainable oil palm plantation cooperative were established in the country. A total of 15 million ringgit has been allocated under the 12th Malaysia Plan to carry out preliminary works for the upgrading of the main and cargo jetties in Pulau Pangkor. Minister in the Prime Minister's Department Economy, Datuk Sri Mustafa Muhammad, told the Dewan Rakyat today that of the total amount, 7 million ringgit was allocated for next year. Datuk Sri Mustafa said this in reply to a question from Datuk Sri Ahmad Faizal Azumu, who wanted to know about the status of the application to upgrade the passenger jetty on the duty-free island. Pulau Pangkor was gazetted as a duty-free island on 1st January this year. To another question from the Perak Menteri Besar on the status of the application to shorten the 48-hour requirement before tourists could enjoy duty-free shopping on the island, Datuk Sri Mustafa said the matter was being studied by the Finance Ministry.
Tempoh 48 jam itu ditetapkan ya untuk membolehkan pelancong meluangkan masa lebih di Pulau Bersukai dengan itu memberi faedah ekonomi yang lebih kepada pengusaha-pengusaha lain termasuk restoran, hotel dan tempat-tempat penginapan yang lain. Jika dipendekkan pada 24 jam, kesan limpahan ekonomi itu tidak sebesar sekiranya pelancong tinggal 2 hari ataupun 48 jam di Pulau Pangkor.
In anticipation of a potential revival in international travel, Airasiacom has partnered with Turkish Airlines to allow it to enhance its strong pan-Asia flight network. The collaboration will enable Airasiacom to tap into Turkish Airlines' comprehensive destination map, which is the world's largest in terms of the countries and international points flown by a global carrier. AirAsia Group Chief Executive Officer Tan Sri Tony Fernandez, in a statement released today, said Airasiacom welcomes the opportunity to promote Turkey as a major gateway to Europe to prepare the airline once borders gradually reopen next year. He said Airasiacom, with its comprehensive portfolio of travel and lifestyle products, is well poised to promote the best that Turkey and the wider European market have to offer. He added that Airasiacom will continue to collaborate creatively with other industry players to stimulate travel demand and complete their product offering as the one-stop platform for customers' travel and lifestyle needs. While using its virtual interlining technology, Airasiacom will now be able to combine Turkish Airlines' extensive flight inventory with AirAsia flights and offer itineraries with attractive discounted fares from normal fares. AirAsia said the partnership is expected to generate a substantial synergy between the two parties through the cross-promotion of destinations, with the mission of being proactively prepared to tap into forthcoming return of travel. Travelers can also enjoy the convenience and great value of an end-to-end product offers across Airasiacom ecosystem, from flights to hotels and activities. Malayan banking Berhad Maybank has extended the application period for its loan financing repayment assistance, which is aimed at individual and small and medium enterprise SME customers impacted by the pandemic, to 30th June 2021. The bank said to date it has processed over 90,000 repayment assistance applications received from customers and have approved all eligible applications. In a statement released today, Maybank said of these approved applications, close to 45% have been granted a further deferment in the repayment of their loans and financing. It said the targeted repayment assistance (TRA) is also offered to eligible B40 individual and micro-enterprise customers starting from today up to 30th June 2021. Maybank said to be eligible for the TRA, customers' loans or financing must be approved before 1st October 2020 and are not in arrears for more than 90 days at the point of application. Additionally, it said other comprehensive packages are also being offered by the bank, and all successful applications for the RTA would take effect on 1st December 2020 to 30th June 2021. It said the application process has also been simplified for selected groups such as the B40, M40 and micro enterprises. For more information on Maybank's repayment assistance packages, including the TRA, customers can visit the bank's website or contact the Maybank Group Customer Care Hotline. That concludes this evening's news at 10. In our top story, over 1,800 new COVID-19 cases reported following spike among factory workers. Join us again at 12:30 tomorrow afternoon for more updates. I'm Renee Fong. Stay tuned to saluran Berita RTM and good night.